Are you seriously brought your Nero stuff? That's awesome! Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, Dustin Moongazer, the werewolf. Or in this case, the werefox. No! Magic armor! They're over. Hey! Okay, I'll talk to them. You're a rogue! I'm already dead!
There is no way you can see both the shoulder blades.
I'm too fat. I can't even see them.
You can't see them? I can't see them.
I am so glad Waylay's not a thing anymore. Fuck! Who else brought a Nero weapon? I need to remind him what arm reach can do. Sunday?
Well,
yeah, okay, well the shield, yeah, that might help.
Well, Alkali, do you want a paw?
That's how we start the fight. Sir, I challenge you, and then I die. Because I should not be in close range with somebody.
Look what they have in the dealer's den.
Oh, that's great. That is great. You guys, we're not starting for another 2 minutes. We're waiting for a few more of our guests. Wow, I did not actually expect this many people to be here for Otherworld stories. Thank you very much for joining us. This is badass. Oh, I am... Hold on. I don't always bring a glass, that's the trick. Now remember guys, this is very important. This is MFF, which means there's no drinking in public. This is meant for furries. It's apple juice meant for fur. So it's fermented apple juice. I apologize to some of our panelists. Hello? Hey, I'm in LAX about to do a panel. What's up?
Yep, there it is.
Hold on to that. Yes, that would be good.
See, now that he has a new phone, he actually picks it up.
Yes, it's with Uzi and LAX. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, I have a new phone. This one works. Oh no, apparently it doesn't. I have like 18 missed messages. It's the same.
Yeah. How much porn do you have on it?
Honey, look at me. Do you think I need porn? It's all porn of him. Is he joking? You'll never know. He used to play Nero shirtless with his chest painted red and white to be a fox. There's porn of him.
It's fucking hot out.
You are the only person I know that can be like, yes, I am ready for Nero. Vest, paint. Goes out into 900-degree weather, doesn't sweat at all. Like, how are you doing this? He's like, Rodriguez.
The real trick is you just stay dehydrated, you never sweat.
Is this why you never have to pee in the middle of a battle?
Not true. That's a story for later.
The only thing is if you never drink, you die.
No.
Which I guess will solve all your problems.
At certain LARPs, you never drink because you can get poisoned drinks. I know because I poison people.
Oh, shit.
Where are you going? You played once. Get your ass up. He played in, where were you? Massachusetts, right?
Hell.
In hell. He actually
You
played.
can sit by the other Nero.
Yeah, we're going to go for experience this one. Where are you?
You're not gonna want to watch
I had to run from the bar.
He ran. Actually, that's a great way to start this. Dude, he made an escape check from the bar and succeeded.
Nice.
That's not how Nero works.
Sometimes D&D stories. Actually, other than you, because you played D&D with me before too. Yeah, I remember that. You got laid.
Wow, Gatorade, right?
Yeah, that fizzy Gatorade. Okay, I think we can start it.
Okay.
Are we on time? Yep, we can start it. All right. I keep thinking I'm wearing a tie, and it's really annoying.
Let me just.
Yeah, just it's drink. Yeah, just drink. I love you. You need some of that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Otherworld Stories! So So the panelists sitting up here today have played a game called Nero. Now some of us have awful as
we might have maybe sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. And that thing stuff rolled a 20. Rolled a 1 on my speechcraft check, but rolled a 20. We play D&D, we play other games of interest, and that's what this panel's about, guys. We're going to take you to a different world and tell you some of those stories that happened. Now notice I say that happened. Because you don't get to live these stories, these are the stories that happen to you. And that is what LARPing and D&D is all about. Shit happens to you, you react, and the DM laughs.
Like when my character fell out of a tree.
You fell out of a tree? My character threw a tree, possibly with you in it. Well, actually, we're going to tell that story later of the flying tree. Don't want to know.
No, you don't.
How's it vibrating?
We kind of do. Is that the indicator?
I hate you so much. Guys, to introduce our panelists, we traded off. I introduced this gentleman to Nero, and he introduced me to Furry. Ladies and gentlemen, my good friend, Dustin Moongazer, the high-level Werewolf Rogue. To my this side, hold on, I'm going to be able to tell right from left again. Sideways, we have who has just started playing Nero. You went at human, right? Is how you started playing?
Yes.
He started playing the game as a human, and within 3 hours of starting this stupid game, something exploded, and now he's a lizard.
I died.
That's right, I forgot that killed you.
I resurrected.
You're smart. That's another story that we have for you guys. Guys, this gentleman over here, he is Miko. He has been playing the game for a little bit over a year now. He is our new player at the table, kinda. And he gets to give you stories from the viewpoint of somebody who does not know what's going on, but gets blown up and turned into a lizard.
Spoilers. Spoilers.
And guys, to my right, this gentleman has played Nero once. I was not there, and all of a sudden my phone exploded with, "Oh my God, I can't believe I didn't find this earlier. I wish I wasn't so fat." Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, the Boozy Bannister. My name is Alkali. I have been playing Nero now for 15 years.
No. You started
A long time.
Yeah.
You're at 18 now.
I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm old. But when I was younger, I played a fighter. I play a healer now.
You're like.
Fuck you. Love you too. I have been playing this game for apparently 18 years, and we have stories for you. So we're going to start off over here to give you an idea of what happens at these games. If Nick were here, he would have demanded we told this story first. I'm going to just let you... What?
The bridge.
The bridge. Oh, actually, well, there's a bridge in this story too, but...
oh, that's not the bridge.
No, not that bridge.
Okay.
Dustin, was there a moment when you won?
There was indeed a moment where not only did I win, but Alkali broke. There was a moment where you have all these stats and you have all these abilities in your head and you realize what your stat card is and you understand, oh, I'm a wizard, I have fireballs, I have this, I have these magical powers, I'm fantastic. His ability became... It was like Mastercraft and...
I was very good at that. I remembered Rift.
So the character that in question that Alkali was playing was an NPC, non-playable character, a monster that was threatening the land and everything what we must defeat. And he was known as the Lord of Worms. Basically, the idea of it came up the same way the monster looked, spaghetti thrown at a wall, and that's just kind of stuck. And that's what's
What offended me? The first time I played this character, our makeup artist. Guys, we're talking about a theater level makeup artist. She is unbelievable. covered my face, covered it with spirit gum, and then took gummy worms, was just like, and I'm like, I looked in the mirror, I am terrifying and delicious.
Mid-module snack, just,
Oh, absolutely.
monologue.
I think I did that to Stova, right?
So this is this big, nasty guy, and he's threatening one of my friends, a character, a Sar, which is like a feline character named Kaneko. Well, my friend, a big elf, is known as Gray, had the idea of, hey, let's completely just ambush the Lord of Worms. We probably can't hurt him because he's magical, Mary Sue, bad guy version of Mary Sue, I
Mary
guess.
Sue, I like that.
So we can't kill him, but let's just make Dan shit his pants. It worked. So we start off, and this person, Kaneko, happens to be about 5'4" and short hair and dainty and just basically me in drag.
So what did you do?
What happened was me in drag. We swapped out costumes. I'm sitting by the tree. Now there's an ability there's out of game where you are just kind of observing and doing stuff. Since he was running the game, kind of like staff, where you don't want to be seen but you want to be heard, he came up to me in this character's costume with the hood low and I'm huddled by a tree. And he walks up to me, puts his hand on my shoulder and goes, Danny, is everything all right? Completely out of game. I just nod and shake, and I'm thinking, please don't figure out who this is. It's gonna ruin everything. We're about to start the adventure in about 10 minutes. We'll meet up on the bridge, okay? Just nod and shiver. I don't want to talk or do anything. Okay, this is gonna be fun, and walks away. I'm sitting here the whole time with a red tail peeking out of the hood going, please be done. Please don't see it.
I did not see it.
So now we get to the point where we're on the bridge, and it's myself in this big cloak, and Gray standing right behind me as my mentor. And the Lord of Worms magically appears in a puff of smoke, and he begins his monologue, as you do.
As I do. I'm very good at that part, and then you guys kick my ass.
Pretty much threatens the world, my family, the memories of my family, the memories of me, anything I found
I
precious.
threatened the acorn.
Anything you can imagine a bad guy could threaten was no good.
And she's not responding. It's a back and forth game. I shall destroy everything that you hold dear. Pause. Like, shit. I will destroy your friends. Pause. Shit. All right. What else do I know? All right. I start telling her the weaknesses of the group because my clan had hivebind, so I knew actual in-game stat cards. Like, I know that death does this. Your friend can take a magic armor and die. Not a. What the shit?
From behind, the voice of Kaneko goes, you will not succeed. Alkali in mid-stride stopped, looked at me a little closer as I pull the hood back. He then turns behind him to look at Kaneko. Hey, I'm a rogue. Sneak damage, anybody?
Oh.
Damage, hitting him. Nothing happens, except a slow turn back towards me. I'm dual class fighter. Damage, and still just a gate. At this point, he turns back for a second time at Kaneko, who's just got a shit-eating grin on her face, as myself and the elf behind me, who's a very large warrior, just start beating the snot out of it. All he goes is, I riffed out, and just walk.
You have to understand two things. One, riffed out is a 3 count, and I forgot how to count to 3. I threw down the words, I fucking riffed out, and I walked away, trying to comprehend the fact that what they just did not only was one of the most brilliant plans I had ever seen, but made me forget every one of my page of stats that I could have used to annihilate that. Be like, I think I can kill down, I don't fucking know. Because I stood there thinking, like, how long has he... Son of a bitch, it was him the whole goddamn table! I think I went and drank for an hour. You motherfucker. It's one of my all-time favorite memories of the game. I have been... People... That's the beautiful part of the game. Who here plays D&D? Okay. Who here can say, as you play D&D, that it's not really the players versus the DM, but there's that glorious feeling when one of you throws the other for a loop. Do you know what I'm talking about? Yes! Yes! All the angels. And you have to understand, Nero and most LARPs work differently, because here's the difference when you go between a tabletop game and a LARP. In a tabletop game, a DM knows every aspect of the game, because everything you have ever done in that game, you've done to the DM. Nero, I'm not by them. I don't know what's going on if I'm running the game. I know that I have a story to tell, I know how I'm going to run it, and I know that I'm going to have to improvise because somebody's going to be in drag. And that's the beautiful part about Nero, because every once in a while, people like him, these hardcore players.
Some skinny kid ends up in drag for you?
Yeah,
That's just Saturday.
that is not how Saturday Nero works.
That's
Where did
right.
she play?
They're more expensive on the weekends.
Damn it! Get my wallet. But every once in a while, you get one of those amazing moments. That's my first story. And this is another time that I was running plot. One year, the owners of Nero Chicago, now it's kind of like a FurCon. You have the people who own it, and you have the board of directors. That's how most Neros work. You have the people who own it, and then you have the storytellers, the plot team. The owners gave me total free rein. They said they didn't want to know the story because the owner is my friend Steve. Now, Steve had been running Nero for almost 20 years at this point. He had to stop playing in other chapters because his chapter ran 24 events a year. It was difficult, but he told me he wanted to play. Like, oh, that sounds wonderful. And we sat down and had a meeting, me and my plot team of 5, said, all right, how do we fuck with them this year? And we came up with shit. Number 1, and I think you were here for this event, the final villain, Doris. Doris was played by me, but not really, because Doris had clones. So anytime you encountered him, you never knew if you were fighting the real Doris. And for the entire year, it took them to figure this out. A real year, real time. They're trying to figure out how to battle this ultimate evil that is actually the pinnacle of everything that's been happening. They find out he has clones, and the final battle opened up the whole campsite. Over a mile square of land with forests and paths, campgrounds type stuff, huge field, and we had all 3 of us playing Doris's. Only way we knew who was the real one was when you killed us, we'd give you the treasure, and inside that treasure was a poker chip. If it was a red poker chip, you got the real one. If it was white, you did not. So we didn't even know who the real one was. But the trick to the mod was his name. Because the biggest PC in town, the most powerful person, his name is Darius. And we called our villain Doris. And it worked. Because this is what I got to hear. Darius is over here, what? And everyone, no, Darius, what? And then everyone, call him his last name. What's his last name? It's Silverstar. Darius, call his last name. No, the bad one. So we're running this field. It's myself, Tim, and Hannah, and we are trying to cause as much chaos as possible. They had a time limit. At 2 hours, we were gonna launch an aerial barrage of fireworks. Red means they killed him, white means they did not, and something else would have happened. And we thought we had it so well planned. Because that's what we do. We plan things. And there I am, on the back path, knowing that no one should be back here, and I hear somebody approaching like, it must be the good guys. My army, get ready, draw your weapons. And here comes one of the other Dariuses. Like, we're in the same place. And all of a sudden in the forest I can hear Tim, shit! Like, oh God, we're all here! Scatter! All 3 of us decided the best place to start this was on the back fucking path. So now the PCs who have started to look for us are converging, and they just see fucking armies of bad guys running like scared fire ants from the forest, because we done did fuck up. And the worst worst thing that could have happened is them kill all 3 of us. So we even said, like, we quick got together, like, huddle, hurry, huddle. We all have to survive this. And for a moment, we were totally the players going up against 100 PCs converging on us. Because if they just killed us, it would have ruined everything. So we're like, guys, we gotta get out of here. We gotta reform somewhere else, and we can't cheat. Ready, break.
What you're forgetting, though,
What did I forget?
is you are also on Plot's perspective. So you have this planned out.
Yes.
As a player, when you see your entire plot team, your entire storytellers, come screaming out of a bush and scattering, you go too. You get out of there. You have no idea. Okay.
Oh yeah, no, that was one of the problems. We were very powerful, but they didn't realize that we were way more scared than they would ever be. And now the fun really starts, because now they saw us, they know kind of where we're at, so we go over them, they're breaking off into other groups. They're calling for their healers, because we're winning. So you hear, Blizzard the Lizard Wizard.
Bad joke.
That's a
The Lizard Wizard.
Here he is too powerful for the game. He owned a chapter, so basically he was at an event every weekend forever. He is the most powerful character in Nero, which means that he has all these healing spells. He also wears bells for his costume.
Legit sleigh bells.
Oh yeah. So I got to stand on the hill with my army because they weren't going to attack all of us at once. They knew I was up there, like, we're going to deal with this one, then we'll deal with that one. So we're standing there, we're kind of watching the field, and I'm just watching these battles break out, and then, jing, 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 Eel. Jing, 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 jing. Eel. Jing, 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 jing. Because he's a fat guy, too. So at the start of the battle was, I am Johnny on the spot. Midpoint of the battle, he's like, just bring him to me! By the time they got to the 3rd Doris, I found out, and I wish I would have known this, he went back to the cabin for a nap. I'm good. I saved a lot of people. How many spells do you have left? Quite a few. Bring them to the bed, assume I got them. That's still my all-time favorite clusterfucks.
Bring them to me.
Bring them to me. We're gonna jump over you because you had your first event. Would you like to regale the room with Boom Lizard? I think that's the best way to describe it. Boom Lizard.
So, the tale of Boom Blizzard.
See, it's a great name.
I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Well, in that case, Boom Lizard. I'm Plot. I can do that.
I'm pretty sure my story is Boom. God damn it,
God damn it, Nick. Actually, yeah, let's go with that. Boom. God damn it,
So,
Nick.
at this point, I had been living with this idiot for about 2 years, and whenever his friends come over, be it somebody nearby, somebody who's a furry, or somebody who apparently has played Nero longer than I've been alive,
Damn it.
You're so
wait,
young.
what are you at?
I'm at 18.
Oh, it's okay, I'm still good.
You are so young.
After hearing all these stories about it, I was super excited. I was like, well, this sounds like a lot of fun. I like role-playing, I like hitting people with things, I like throwing things at people, and so I decided to go along with him for this event. This microphone got a lot louder all of a sudden.
It happens.
But so I come along with this event, and you know, I go on a couple of the newbie mods, like the little adventures that they send you on, like, oh, this is how you attack, this is how you defend, this is how you stop non-stop zombies. Oh god. Look, some of us were swinging 2s, and this is way bigger than my. I had a sword once. I forgot about that.
Yes, you did.
Fox compensated.
So,
That was great, dude.
yeah, that wasn't entirely unintentional. Sorry. But basically, then they're like, "Oh, the big town mod is coming up." I was like, what does that mean? You know, the big town mod, everybody goes on it. Come on, come along. Like, I don't care that you're not part of the story. Come along. Okay.
We were gonna have fun.
So,
It was fun for me.
it's a long, dark cave. Something an awful lot like this hallway.
That's insane.
This actually looks like exactly
Yes!
the length that it was.
Okay.
And
I'm having
it's
an
probably 16 to 20 of us all grouped together. Big fighters in the front, healers in the middle, and goodness knows what menagerie, including myself in the back.
It was safer back there.
It was safer back there. I couldn't throw things. You can't throw things at low levels. And so we creep. I don't know what we're going up here for, but we creep. What are we looking for? We've been looking for these lizard guys for a long time. I don't know what's going on, but we've been looking for them. Okay, creep, creep. So at the end of all of this, there was a couple of creepy little lizards that came out, and at the end of it, there's a big old circle. Circles are bad. There's a circle, big old stones. I think they were described to me as egg-shaped, rock-looking things.
That's correct.
Eggs are bad. And so we have eggs in a circle, and in the center, a rather large lizard creature that we have never seen that color before. Bad.
I love listening to this from your point of view, because this is kind of glorious.
I don't need to use, like, in-game or out-of-game knowledge. Bad.
It's not the greatest word.
And so, there's a whole bunch of different people, different perspectives, and I'm not even talking about out-of-game. You have your wood elves, you have your humans, you got your SAR, you have all sorts of critters. And one of them, a noble human of all sorts. Oh,
He's an elf.
Yeah.
he was dead to me, it doesn't matter. Decides the best thing to do is kick one of the stones.
That's
And
a GM
I
throw.
can't remember who it was. Was it Dave or who was
It was
who was
Dave.
watching?
It was Dave.
Doesn't know what to do. Looks around. Okay, circle explodes. It exploded in some magical burst or whatever, and he says, "You're all lizards now. You're all lizard people now." A lot of people have attachments to their race for some reason. People who are human want to be human. People who are weird-looking animal things want to be weird-looking animal things. I started this game 3 hours ago. I hardly had time to put together a character after he told me, "Hey, this thing's happening this weekend, let's go." "Oh, it's Saturday." "Yeah, I know, let's go."
Let's go.
And so everybody else decided to take a death, and that's where they all retained their race. I said, "Thuth me." I had no idea what was going on, but suddenly I was a lizard person, and very quickly, because of that, I became important to the immediate plot, and it was really exciting. Basically, a lot can happen in a little bit of time. Circles are bad. Boom, lizard. Wait, what's next character's name?
Nick's character is Darius.
There is so.
Darius! Anyway,
Darius!
at the end of all of our stories is some noble elf who we all want to stab a little bit.
Hey, I did stab him. Now,
Hey, this is PG.
now you played for your first time
I
recently.
did.
Would you like to regale us with your first event?
I'm a coward. No shit. That's the name of the character, Dart the Coward. I'm excited. You show up at a campground, somebody hands you pants that are way too baggy and a tunic.
Wow, this sounds a lot like mine.
Yes. You change into it,
That's how it
and then
works.
they say, "Here's your crossbow." that would normally excite me very much. But it was foam. I got excited again later though when they said that since I had a crossbow, I got to throw things at people. And it didn't matter if I hit them in the face. I got less excited when they said I had to call out 5 normal every time I did it. So I just kind of stopped doing that. It took to spending the weekend pegging people in the back of the head with packets of sand.
Jesus Christ, Banshee.
Actually, no, it was a lot of fun. I got roped into it because someone had invited my partner to go out there, and they wanted me to go, so I went. And I had a D&D character called Dart the Bard, who was completely useless to every campaign he had ever been in, by design. And Dart's thing was, we're gonna go and fight this monster. Are you coming? No, I'm cool. And that's where Dart the Coward came from. And it was a lot of fun to play Dart the Coward because there's mods, apparently. There are these little mini adventures within the main quest of the weekend. And they come up and go, we're all going to go on this mod to the such and such temple to find the artifact. Are you coming? No. Because people who go places die. And I'm a coward. And I had this backed up. Because we're in the tavern where you should be when there's something exciting going on. Safely in the tavern. And that's when they sneak attacked the tavern. And it was Dark the Squishy Bard, who is a coward. And then like 4 much more experienced players fending off the big bad boss of the weekend and his 4 or 5 minions who are coming in the front and back doors of the tavern. And then they apparently transport out of the tavern. I want this on the record. I had an opportunity to run very early on in this battle. But no, I was brave. And you know what I learned? Brave people get killed. Because I got killed. Bam! The best thing, and you guys talk about, the best part of it for me though was, like you could very obviously tell when something was screwed up, but it just made it more awesome. Once again, at the tavern, are you seeing the pattern?
Taverns are dangerous.
There's a mod, they're going to get something. And I found out much later, after the weekend was over, that the plan was for the group to go on that mod, they would complete the mod, come back with the artifact to kill like this mini boss, like that they were sending up to attack the tavern with wave after wave after wave of the undead. And this mini boss was the most terrifying thing you've ever seen in your life. It was a guy in a morph suit, a white speck coming out of the pitch blackness of the woods, doing this. And you couldn't kill him. He was unkillable without this one thing that you got at the mod. The problem is the people on the mod were apparently fighting about something.
Oh God.
And had not yet returned to the tavern with that one thing that could kill him at the time they attacked. So the 8 people in the tavern had an hour-long battle against wave after wave of the undead and creepy morph suit man who were charging the back door in front. At one point, this was said, "Oh shit, he's coming in the back." You're throwing stuff. There was me with a crossbow and a short sword that did nothing. An archer with horrible aim. Just horrible. Like he would throw a pack and it would veer off to the right. A couple fighters and 2 healers doing wave after wave of the undead for an hour. It was the most adrenaline-inducing thing I had ever done. Guys, I have been in fist fights in Mississippi Blood Bucket bars. This was more exciting. Probably because I wasn't going to the hospital after.
It helps.
But it's cool, and we are down to it. I mean, I walked into that weekend with like them giving me a stack of crossbow bolts this thick to use. At the end of this battle, I had like 3. There's no more healing spells. Everybody's out.
Oh god.
There's no res spells. This is the last stand. And the 8 or 9 of us stand there are going, when they attack again, we're all going to die. And out of the woods comes the group from the mod, like 20 people, to charge into the undead to kill this thing. The morph suit is on the ground as they're forming a circle to trap it, and all the people from I'm calling it the last stand of the tavern, are walking down to this, and the people running the game are going, no, if you're not immediately in that, you need to get back because we're going to do a reset. We're like, fuck you. You just spent an hour with this thing. We want to watch it die. And then after that, as one does, we all went out to a field and had a group line dance. Which isn't a joke, that's apparently how you summon the thunder god. Get a line dance. You did it 5 or 6 times. It was really annoying. I then went to the cabin, sat on my bed, and fell asleep. The next morning over breakfast, somebody says, you missed the best battle last night in the field. It was a huge, important game moment. I can't believe we tried to wake you up. You weren't waking up. My first thought was, I'm an attorney. I do not do this much physical activity in like a year. So no, you weren't waking me up. Number 2, I don't care what you did last night. Like anything short of reenacting like Bull Run, Jesus, is not more exciting than the last stand at the tavern in that one moment where you're standing there and you're like, I got 4 crossbow bolts, I have 1 healing spell, there's 30 of them. We're all gonna die.
Yep.
Hey, what's going on over there? Oh, thank God. And the thing that got me at the end of it was the gentleman who had wrote this whole thing. He's the programming director for Furthermore. His name's Sparf. He was the plague doctor who killed me the one time I died. He is terrifying. He's like, after he's like, oh yeah, I wrote that. I didn't know if anybody, I'm like, the morph suit was you? Yeah. The plague doctor who burst in the tavern door and killed everybody, that was you? Yeah. You're a terrifying man. At one point he infects you with the plague. He's like, plague +1. Somebody goes, you can't run, and I'm like, I don't run anyways. So, long story short, I've now bought a year membership to Nero Boston, and I'll be going back because Dart needs to die.
Well, we're going to drag you out to Grand Rapids because we have a werewolf problem, and I need you to yell jokes at it.
Okay.
You're the werewolf problem.
I am not the werewolf problem.
Do you like chaos? You're the werewolf problem. Don't start. Don't start a howl. Should have bought the sign. You're right.
You're all fine. $300. Actually,
I already am fine.
That's the wonderful thing, like the morph suit, stuff like that. Hands down, it's one of my favorite parts of Nero because you can't do it often. Because you can only come up with so many weird fucking things. Sometimes you get to have a moment that no one expects because it's too much effort. That's the only way to describe it. The wall at the season closer. No one expects the wall. We were finishing off the entire season, and we had a barn. We actually are on a huge old campsite that had 3 barns and just tons of places to play. Well, this barn, for the year, had power tools and all this shit basically on the right side of it. But the left side was totally clean out and we could play Nero there. So we went there on a Wednesday before an event and we started cleaning. And we cleaned out the whole barn. And then took Tyvek, foam building walls, and built a makeshift wall halfway through this barn. And we spray painted this wall, and everyone who had ever been there before knew, like, oh, cool, that side
That's
with
a
all
wall.
of the, yeah.
That's the power tools. You don't go over there.
Yeah, finally they blocked it out of sight, out of mind. It helps with the immersion. It was obvious why we built that wall. So they went on. They went on the first module of the evening. Everyone showed up to Nero, and nothing was going on. It's the season closer. We waited for almost everyone to get there. But luckily, and we had planned it like this, they had stuff they needed to plan. So everyone had stuff to do, but there wasn't monsters. There wasn't anything going on. And finally, somebody comes into town. Doris, the big bad guy, is held up over here. He's in the middle of something. We don't know what's going on. We gotta go get him right now, guys. Let's go right now. And the whole town. It was earlier on Friday, so I think we only had about 50 people there at this point. They go over to the barn. And there I am in full Doris regalia. And there's Carrie in her, I forget who she was playing, I forget her name. But basically, the love interest of Doris. The whole reason this thing happened, that the PCs tore away from me at the season opener. And that's what's going on. It's the first time they've realized that. And as I'm standing there monologuing, you can see them. Because monologuing doesn't actually mean shit. They can totally attack me. Usually they let me talk because they know that I'm going to say something over the top, and I'm going to try to attack, I'm going to fuck it up, and they're going to kill me. They find it very funny.
Still do.
Oh, I know. So as I'm standing there, I finally say the one thing that makes them realize that they were the one who stole the love of my life. And 30 revenants standing behind the wall broke it down with prejudice. They annihilated this wall, and Jill will forever have my favorite line, because all I heard was monologue, code word, bam! Jill came up to me afterwards and slapped me. I peed! It was worth it for that. With season closers, you go balls to the wall. Like season closers, we keep stuff in the chamber for that. We spent at least 7 hours turning the top floor of the barn into a spider's nest. You know those stupid spider webs for Halloween? 40 packages of those stupid spider webs. None of them where you go too far and there's a hole. Nope.
Did you just notice though the groan from the audience?
I hate those things.
Wait. Now, how many here in the audience have actually LARPed? Who've done a live action role play? Okay, very minor. Who knows how dangerous fucking spiders are? In any game that you play, spiders,
Including real life.
dragon, lich, death knight, monster of stupidness, no problem. There's like 6 spiders over there. Nope, I'm out. Bog spiders. Continue.
We spent 7 hours making this tangle of web. We had corridors for us to throw our packets. The spiders were up on a raised dais. We were just pegging people and destroying them, and because they didn't know what to do, there's a room with 40 packs of spider webs, and finally it was Adam Brockup who figured it out. He's like, fuck this! And he ran through all my webs. And I didn't know this. Here's a wonderful piece of information. It takes about 30 bags of spider web to physically trap a 300-pound and all of a sudden it's like, there is no way that makes my goddamn mother again, just screaming, and everyone is losing their minds. They realize he's actually trapped in the spider web. And I couldn't resist. I just went up, I kind of walked to the edge of the stage. Physical web.
1 every 3, 2 every 3, 3
Rep it, fuck.
I'm still.
300-pound, 320-pound cotton candy spool.
Yes. Yeah, he was picking cop-ups out of his costume the rest of the weekend. It was like Saturday night. We're sitting there, we're all done. He's like, God damn it! He's just pulling this web out of his armor. But hands down, the most complicated thing we did that weekend was the Banshee. That was one of my crowning achievements, and it had nothing to do with me because it was a logistical nightmare on the level of running a convention. Because Banshees are terrifying. Banshees are amazing. You don't overuse certain creatures, and Banshees are one of them because they are tough. And one of the reasons they are tough is the old school Nero Chicago Banshee had an ability that very few other things have, and it's called Rift at Will. This Banshee could go pop, pop over here, pop, pop, and she could do that as many times as she wanted. And when I read that, because we had a special book for all the high-level creatures, when I read that this was the only creature that could do that, we knew we had to write something. And we spent a day trapped in a room, smelling like ass, figuring out how we were going to do this, and we finally figured it out because of YouTube. So they went down to the field. Now bear in mind, the field is 2.5 football fields at least. That's how large this field was. And they knew they were fighting this Banshee. So they're decked out in everything anti-undead. Everything they can muster. They've got spells to stop death. They've got spells to stop arcane death. They're doing everything that they can. And here comes the Banshee, Carrie, this little wisp of a girl, and James's Amy had made the costume. We had power cords running all over this field. We had them wrapped in duct tape because it rained recently. It was a nightmare. But the first thing we needed was a fan, because I had 10 NPCs in full blackout. Black shirt, black pants, black shoes, black socks, black gloves, black hood, black fan. Because on these fans was a small ultraviolet light, or what do you call those? Black light, black light. So her white costume with a black light shining on it, just flowing through the air as she slowly walked out onto the field, with 20 bad guys behind her, also dressed in white, so that the rest of this could all show off what they were about to face. And we watched the PCs kind of freeze for a moment, and right then they got to see, which I wish I could have experienced. I wanted to see it from their vantage point, but I'm standing up there with a radio. Go 1, and Carrie screams out, 1 I ripped out! 2 I ripped out! 3 I ripped out. When the NPC at her feet takes the black cloth and throws it over her so that she disappears from view from every PC, and on the other side of the field, Carrie's doppelganger, who's about her size, drops her hula hoop with black cloth, and she reappears on the other side of the field.
Cool.
And every fucking PC went, no! 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 Hands down, my favorite reaction from you guys was just like, are they gonna just keep doing that? We had 3 Banshees on the field. So the entire battle was, go after the minions and then we just teleported her all over the field. And when it was finally done, they finally got her. I got to watch them walk up to me, go, give me my goddamn treasure. What you guys are? You guys are.
I got a good one on season closers.
Which one?
Keizu.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
This is what we consider the final nail in the coffin for there's a drake infestation, a large lizard infestation. Now the team at Nero Kalamazoo are known for their foam smith. They make all sorts of fun things. They decided for these drakes that they would take these polearms, these large 2-handed weapons, with a giant foam lizard head at the end of it. Locked in the eye sockets are 2 F-off mag lights. If anybody works security or police officer or anything else, or just, excuse me, sir, if you've been drinking, mag lights are pretty bright. So they have these lights inside. We're all getting ready. We're all going through the fight. We're fighting all the Drake's Guardians, which are some undead, some random creatures of whatever. We get to the end and we open up to this huge open field in the middle of the campsite. And it is just enough to where it's got a little bit of fog on the ground. It's kind of maybe about a foot or 2 coming off the ground, and it was a new moon. So it was pitch black on this field. And we come up there and it's like, okay, 3, 2, 1, here we go. We're on the mod, everything's live, everything you see is there. Whatever's going on is going on, Godspeed. Okay, well, we're standing in this field and we're looking around, we don't see a damn thing. Until one of the guys with the polearm drake heads kind of turns a little bit, and these 2 mag lights just start scanning the crowd. It hits one of the players. They look and see, kind of like a little red dot in the forehead, as then 2 other drakes shine the mag light on and begin running. Everybody scatters. Just go. Break. So now, I'm not so much a coward, I'm an opportunist. There's a difference between coward and opportunist. I play a rogue. I don't deal with frontline combat. So I peace out, kind of tuck in the back, looking for an opportunity to either look for one of the eggs which we need to retrieve, or just a time to get up on one of the lizards and kill them. So from my view, I see Maglite scanning, locks onto a player. The player doing whatever stops in mid, looks back at the light, goes, oh shit. 3 converge and gets beat down. The player falls into the fog, disappears in the fog. To which then the eyes begin scanning again and lock onto another person. And this repeats for about 2.5 hours. As I went from, hey, I'm gonna be the rogue and see if I can find some treasure, to basically emergency triage, running over to bodies that I saw estimated get dropped. You alive? Can't help you. Search your pouches. Yeah, we got a cold one over here.
There's a fox out of the fog.
Are you alive? Oh, you're alive. Good on you, buddy.
I still love, with your red tail, fighting at Nero at night when there's like a sliver of a moon, you'll watch the field, because that's what he does. He's incredible at being the back line. We don't know where he went, but he'll be fine. Like, he'll be looking out over a field, bad guys, us, line, and then red foxtail. Like, don't look at him. He's going to attack from behind. Red foxtail. He's just being a douchebag. That's the wonderful part about Nero. Like, we're telling you some of the cool behind-the-scenes stories. Let's really quick, for the last few minutes, let's go over to the badass player moments. Because your first event, that was one of my all-time favorites, because they didn't know.
Which one?
The field battle.
Field battle.
We did a field battle, then we're gonna go quick fire. We did a field battle. The trick to the field battle was there were 2 types of monsters. They had glow sticks. Red monsters could only be hit by this kind of item. Blue monsters could only be hit by this kind of item. He had one of the very few this kind of items. And all I see is I'm looking out over the field trying to handle the group of people that is there with me. We are trying to make this battle happen. As I watch, and he's...
No, they were switching between them.
They were switching between them, yes. And I watch as him, ah! Red monster that he can't handle. Ah! A minute later, purple monster again. Ah! And there he's like, is he just chasing shit? Yeah. And I was totally transfixed. I'm trying to handle all these different people over here who we're trying to plan an attack, and I'm watching him who's figured out. It's like, purple, good. Ah! Holy shit. He's winning. And he started hurting them. Like, he understood that if he moved to this side, they would go towards us, and we would, and then he was like, cool, and then he'd run away, and he's like, wait up. He'll be fine, apparently.
You want to talk about like big, awesome builds that the plot team does? That
thing.
Big old thing. Like,
that thing was awesome.
Imagine the biggest, scariest thing from a Tim Burton movie that you have ever seen, with the big old nightmare monster. It had big old arms and like, oh my gosh.
Talking about what's puppeteering from the bottom, not from above, but when you
puppeteering from the bottom.
Sure, puppeteering. They did this for a 12-foot tall nightmare creature.
They were swinging these arms at people like.
Well, the worst part
is my first event.
Yeah.
It's midnight. I'm already exhausted. And we're still going!
Well, Dave's such a douchebag, too. Like, the arms are literally, like, pieces of PVC pipe, like this thick, because they had this much padding on them. And he goes up to a normal PC, and the swing is coming. It's like, 100 massive, swing, another normal PC, 100. He sees me, and he's like, bet! And I'm just, I can hit Dan really hard. Was that Dan that made that?
Dan created the
Dan's
whole thing.
amazing.
He's one of the foamsmiths.
Fuck,
He's from Wisconsin.
What's your hero story?
I got a lot, but actually we had one that happened about...
Way to be modest.
3... Not for me. Not for me being a hero. I'm an opportunist. I surround myself with heroes. I don't have to be. We actually had an event less than a month ago, and we have an elf, like a wild elf, that has chosen the path of basically becoming a treant. So she has gone the way to the point of her makeup has become wood vine. She does vines on her face. She spirit gums little flowers and stuff. She's gotten to the point where, depending on the seasons, she changes her makeup color to match the seasons. So she has red for fall, she has white and ice and stuff for winter. So it's little things like this you can add to your character that's just a lot of fun that immerses other people. When you look and you're like, oh, you're like a tree, and okay. And then all of a sudden you see her in spring, and she's got bright colors, everything's vivid. You're like, oh, neat. And in the fall, it's all reds and browns. Like, oh, neat. Well, she also has the ability of additional strength because she's a giant fucking tree. And there's these creatures called death jesters.
Why?
Death jesters are bullshit.
That's the perfect description.
They dance and then jeer at you, and then throw death spells that are just really annoying to deal with because they kill you and then laugh at you and then kill your friends and then go back to laugh at you. And so we had this death jester that has the ability, what they call dodge, which basically makes you immune to the game. I hit you with anything, yeah, dodge. Like, cool story, bro. Oh, dodge. Yeah, cool story, bro. Dodge. I have a lot of that ability because of a rogue. Well, he has just about infinite of these. The trick is as long as he's on his feet and he's dancing, he has those. When he goes flat-footed, he doesn't. So he's going up to our tree person, who is a undead killing machine, and she's just about had enough of this guy for about a half hour, tired of his shit. Now, luckily, there isn't supposed to be physical roleplay. However, if you know the person with and you could kind of get the consent of, hey, Alkali, do you accept my physical role play? And they'll be like, yeah, bring it on, little man. All right. Well, that became an issue of her looking to this death jester, just like, you accept my physical role play. He's like, yeah, sure. So he's dancing around. He danced close enough. She grabbed him, threw him onto the ground, which he did a fantastic roll and played it out, went sprawled onto his back, stood over him, and I just killed the hell out of her. To which then she grabbed his ankle and went, plus strength, I fucking throw you. To which the monster went, okay, stood up, looked at our friend Dave, and went, you accept my physical role play? I do, and threw himself into the other guy. Both monsters poof into a cloud of dust. To which the treant looked back and went, you got any more? That was a month ago at Nero, Grand Rapids.
All right, before we go yours, do we have anyone in here from One Shot? Next panel? Okay, they're not here. It is in here, right? Good.
Yeah, same place.
Okay. If they're not here to set up, we're going to take this one right to the wire. No one in here from One Shot to do pre-setup? All right, we got 5 minutes left. Okay. We went. He knew. He knew. Do you have a hero story? Did you get to experience a hero story?
I'm not sure whether I should refer to it as a hero story. My oldest child came with us, and the people just really took. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Keep the shit away from him.
You should look at that.
And everybody there really took to her. Like, Rhea, she's 14 years old, really took to her though. And I'm gonna go off these people. Okay, I didn't see her again until Sunday. She was gone. I don't know where she slept. I don't know where she ate. I don't know if she bathed. She was gone. But she was so happy. And everybody, she saw us, and they come up to me and they go, oh yeah, we taught her some skills and stuff for her character. I said, that's great. We're in the car ride back, and she goes, oh, Dad, they taught me lockpick. And I went, oh, okay. Thinking it's like D&D. You know, there's a card, you pick lock. No, they taught her how to pick locks. And then they gave her a lockpick set.
Welcome to Nero.
To which I said, That's actually illegal in our state. You can't own those unless you're a locksmith. Give them to me. And I took them and I locked them in my office. That was futile. So thanks to all the heroes of Nero, Boston, who made my daughter a felon.
Now, she's only a felon if she gets caught.
John's a good lawyer.
All right, we're going to, once again, I'm going to ask, is there anyone from One Shot in here? Anyone from the next panel here to set up? Okay, we're going to do one more. This is one of my favorites. Who's been to First Squared? Okay, so you guys know Beardo the Magnificent. John here, John. Yes. All right, John was my healer. Now, John, like Boozy, had a few rules. Rule 1, I do not run. He ran once. He left a trail of arrow packets behind him so he could find his way home. But what he did once, and I will never forget it, was a battle went, as we call it, technically, tits up. We were getting attacked by everything, and it was terrible, and we were losing. We got scattered. We got pushed to the four corners of this field, and I was by far the biggest fighter, and I am getting just clustered. They're going after me. And he had one guy on him. And this is how the battle finished. There were only 3 of these bad guys left. John is semi-alive, and I'm about to die. I turn around to see an ogre running at me, say, prepare to die, 100 slay. I didn't block it. I don't have any defenses left. Die! And I say it at that volume, because you can die right when you die loudly. And that's it. Now you can't talk. Down! And I fell down onto my side. And all the ogres turned to John, the very last player on the field, and they started running at him, and he saw where they came from. Now they are as far from him as I am from the wonderful fursuiter right here that just, oh, give me a little head pat, you're adorable. With the brown, with a fursuit head on top of a fursuit head. Okay, that is the distance that he is away from me, and they are charging at him, and the ogre is about to swing at him, so he does what he does best, dies. He starts to fall over, and as he's falling, I hear him yell out, I come with the F-tier mortal wounds 40, and whips a packet sidearm as he falls to the ground. Packets are white. You can see them very clearly. And that motherfucker curved the bullet. It went around the ogres and hit me dead center of the chest. And it was just like, and all the ogres, they didn't even turn around as far as they were concerned. Just don't forget, we're all human. Battle's over. They just won. They're NPCs. The first thing they're thinking is, oh God, we just had a total party kill. What are we gonna do? Well, I'm a fat ass. I jumped up and I made noise and they didn't know what I was doing. They thought I was gonna come talk to them because I used to run the game. So I ran over to them and started fighting them as much as I could. And as I'm fighting them, I get off my 1 curative spell to John, and he jumps up and goes, dude, how are you alive? Are you faking? I'm like, no, you hit me. He's like, I hit you, you hit me, I hit you. And we were 5-year-old girls. Guys, this has been, we have them, they're in here. Perfect, I was waiting for them. I've been asking for them. Guys, thank you very much. The next thing in here will be One Shot plus Furries. We're playing Giant Tread. I cannot wait to try this game. I'll be joining them. My panelists, Dustin Moongazer, thank you very much. Nico the Mouse, thank you so much. And of course, Rosie